Roll call, please.
Chairman Brewer,
Here.
Vice Chairman Mills,
Here.
Commissioner Hollybush, Director Hollybush.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
That's okay.
I'm here.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Vandergraff,
Here.
Commissioner Henry,
Here.
Commissioner Holmes,
Here.
Commissioner Wright.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Oh, excuse me.
The next item we have is approval of the minutes. Your minutes are attached there in your package.
Motion to approve.
Second it.
All right, it's been motion and second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. All right, motion carries.
Full quorum.
Next item we have on the list is for all brand kinds, Hamlet and Ms. Pittman to discuss the merchandise for the new logo. Evening. Your mic is not on.
I think the button's on the bottom.
Testing.
There it is.
I'm Danny Hamblett with For All Brand Kind.
And Tracy Pittman.
We've got a handout for y'all that we're going to pass out. I'm sorry that we didn't get that to you in advance. I'm going to keep one for us.
Thank you.
Okay, so you guys requested from us that we get some information on merchandise with the new logo on it. Merchandise is kind of a three-part situation. So we've got to, find the merchandise, what vendor we want to use, and figure out a budget. Secondly, we have to figure out how to fulfill that merchandise, so how to get that to consumers. And then thirdly would be a design, which that'll be easy. So we've got pricing on the first page. We got all of this pricing from American Signs and Banners on the Arkansas side. The biggest thing to really talk about is going to be the fulfillment. So how do we get this in the hands of people? So if y'all want to look at the second page, do you want to speak to this?
So our options, are you guys familiar with the drop ship store? Basically, somebody orders something and the item's not produced until they order it, and then it's shipped directly to that person, and we never actually see the thing. Right. So that is it's a lot more expensive to do that per item, so you make less money per item, but it's a way to sell things without having to keep inventory on hand and deal with the fulfillment like yourselves.
What's the name of that procedure again?
Drop shipping.
All right.
So that is an option. The downsides of that is there's somebody orders something, we're not going to have anything in hand that, we can give away to that person. It's going to have to be they order it and it comes. Okay. But drop ship stores are relatively easy to set up and relatively inexpensive to set up. We also discussed local businesses, and we're not sure, as far as the partnership with the A&P, like how this would work, and that would be something we would need to hear from y'all. If there are local businesses that you would want to make these products available so that they can sell them and have them available in the business, since there's not an A&P store, to sell the stuff out of. We wrote down some potential locations that might be interested in selling something, and that's, if the business owner would be interested and if that's something y'all wanted to pursue, but that could be an option.
And on that one, you guys will see here that we've got two ideas. You guys we could wholesale it to these businesses, and then they could sell it for really however much they want, or it can be a consignment thing, but that's a money to collect, and that's kind of an extra step. So I don't know if this has ever been done before from the Arkansas side, or if you guys have any.
Well, I own one of the businesses that has probably one of the most cherished in Texarkana, along with the museums. We have postcards, Texarkana postcards, and other things. because we are getting people from literally around the world come into our facility, and we get to talk to them literally all around the world. Everybody's always looking for Texarkana merchandise. Now, we do this with several different vendors that they come in and do it on consignment. And what we've done, we don't charge anything extra. We ask, ours is a nonprofit, so we just ask that they give back somehow to that. That has been very successful for us because, one, it helps fill our shelves with all the knickknacks that we don't want to tie our money up in, and the people love it. The consumers love coming in and buying that stuff, so.
And that's a good point, the benefit between doing like a drop ship store or having merchandise in people's faces that they can see and walk in off the street and look at. A drop ship store would only be online sales, so somebody would have to find it online and then purchase it. I mean, we could run ads around it and we could promote it, but having merchandise in place in some of the locations around town, I think would be the better idea.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and some of these locations around town are already promoting A&P anyway.
Yeah,
I have a question.
sure.
So what is, I know you say the additional income for the commission, but it's a profit-based thing that you want to put this out, correct?
That's really up to y'all.
I-
If that's something you think that should be pursued, or if you just want to order some things to have on hand to give away, we can go either direction.
Well, I mean, how do y'all feel about something we're selling for us to make a profit on? I don't think we should.
I think it should all be wholesale. We should sell it at cost and let the businesses that are promoting
They
us,
can upcharge,
they can
but
upcharge
as
big
far
money.
as the commission making, I don't want to see us making money, profit off of something we're trying to market for the city.
Yeah, I agree
I
with
mean,
that.
that's my opinion.
Sure, yeah.
So I would suggest buying bulk and you house it somewhere and the businesses as they need it, you can do a commission or a consignment basis where they say, I need 10 shirts, and they buy those 10 shirts. And then they can sell it on property. Like, for me, I would buy 10 shirts to put in our hotel to sell them, but not for profit. And then, but when we get them from you, we would pay for them. So it would actually be cost only.
Yeah, I would say collect the money when they pick up the merchandise, and then if they want to return stuff, we'll take it back.
Yeah,
But
or,
that way, we're not,
well,
selling it,
I mean,
they're going
anybody,
back
I mean, a sporting event or whoever could buy if they could house the merchandise, they could buy the merchandise from them at cost and then just say,
Those businesses, though, can
yeah, the
buy.
businesses will, it's up to them if they want to sell them for profit or give them away.
I agree, and then with that being said, we won't have to be liable for the storage area, the businesses, that's buying it wholesale. They could store it.
Can you house them somewhere here in Texarkana?
Well, what I'm saying, we don't have to house them, but if we sell them wholesale to the businesses probably more likely to have storage area, than,
well, they don't want to house
But we don't
100
want to
shirts
buy
if they're only
100
display
shirts.
right.
We want to buy 10 when we need them, and then go get another 10 when we need them. Does
We've
that
got
make sense?
spaces in the
Well-
mall, we could store the stuff here.
Well, before we make that decision, though, we need to really research that to make sure, because that stuff piles up, really, really fast.
So I can
Yeah,
see two scenarios playing out that way. We could order a bunch of stuff, but then you're just kind of guessing sizes, and then you come in and get 10, and you're coming to get 10, and whatever's left over is just here. Or we could put it out to these people as like a pre-sale, and they could pick their sizes and pick their items, and then we could do a bulk order for all the pre-sales for all the
I like
businesses.
that.
They
Right.
get their stuff, and then nobody's holding it.
I like
I
the
like
pre-sale.
And I don't think we should do returns.
I like the
If
pre-sale.
they buy it,
Because
they
picking up
can
10 here and
discount
10
it,
here,
or,
the sizes would be an issue. I mean,
Yeah.
It's, you do
But is
some
there,
left over you couldn't
there's
get rid of.
minimum orders though on these items? to get
Those
the
are the
price?
price per item at those quantities, so, you know, the
So
more
we-
you order, the cheaper it is per piece. So we could kind of put the pre-sale out there, see what we get back, and then go from there. And we could add some to it just to have stock on hand to do giveaways and stuff too.
Is this logo copyrighted? Or can these business owners use that logo if they're in Texarkana?
I mean, I think we grant permission for other people to use it.
Okay, looking
Logo, right?
looking from a business owner, I like the logo. I love people wanting to buy things from Texarkana. You're talking about selling it to the business at wholesale. I can buy this stuff from wholesale. I don't have to have the go-between, right?
Right.
If I'm doing that,
You
I'm
don't
putting
have
that logo along with my logo to promote Texarkana. That's the way I would do it. I wouldn't buy that shirt. I would buy, Rabbit Hole here, Texarkana, Experience Texarkana on the back or something of that nature, because I can buy it for the same prices that going through you guys. So that wouldn't make sense to most of your business owners. Now, if the city said, okay, because we're trying to promote Texarkana, I'm gonna put X amount of mugs in your facility on consignment, no money out of my pocket, I don't have to hold it, right? I don't mind doing that. That's okay with me, when it sells, whether there's profit or not, it doesn't make me any difference. It helps the people, it brings people to my store, people like the Texarkana stuff. So that's just looking at it not from a commissioner's side, but from the business side of it.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna do it, coffee cups, whatever else, I might put that logo on there, but I'm gonna put my name of my business because they experienced my facility while they were there. That was part of the experience that they had there in Texarkana. So that's just my input.
Yeah. Have you researched how much visibility this would have as a marketing standpoint to implement, to do all this? I mean, do you expect for tourists to, have you come up with something like, how much is this going to help us with marketing Texarkana, Arkansas?
I don't think we can put a hard number to how much it'll help. I think we know based on people stopping in at places like the Rabbit Hole and just word of mouth, like we've done some Texarkana shirts from our business, just people wanting that merchandise, and we know there's a market for Texarkana souvenirs. I think the more that we provide those things for people, and the more it has this logo on it, then the more visibility we get, so.
Okay.
And I
So
think-
it's kind of geared towards more local to get the shirts is what I'm kind of figuring.
I mean, I think local people do
Yeah.
want things, like they ask at the chamber, sometimes people contact us, or, Fanfare used to sell some local stuff, but we don't really have like a gift shop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think locals want it, but I also think out-of-towners would buy it too, so.
Out-of-towners always want it because it's part of their Texarkana
Yeah.
experience.
Right.
However, does that help Texarkana? Probably not. It's a cool thing for them, artifact for them, whatever it is that they take back to wherever they're from.
It'd be
but-
different if there's like a shop somewhere we could set up.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. I suggest, for one, getting a couple different quotes besides American, see what we can get, and only start out with t-shirts.
Do you all have
And
any?
not go full force with hats and everything at once.
Sure. Do you guys have any other vendors that you prefer or that are taxable
I mean, You
entities?
can find it online, or,
And
There's
some of the
several
vin,
local that maybe
I mean,
not
we'd
on the
rather
market.
You could put it out there. I mean, I think,
yeah.
Right, yeah, I mean, we have online vendors that we can look at, but we were trying to go local for.
I would definitely want to keep our money local, and American Signs and Banners, they do quality
They're
work. So
very
if we
good.
have other local ones, but
Yeah.
I'm totally cool with American Signs and Banners.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, if we can keep it local, that'd be good. And I like the suggestion what you made about the pre-sale,
Okay.
pre-sale
I mean,
orders.
I would do like some tote bags, some pens, and some mugs, because like not too long ago, I'm in Kiwanis, and we had a group of doctors that were relocating here. And so they were pulling together gift items so that we could give them on behalf of the Kiwanis Club. And so if we have something that we can just give away to welcome people to town, I mean, we don't have to order 5,000 mugs, but just have something on hand so that we can give away to welcome people to our city.
Would there be somewhere at the airport that we could make that available? Because we have a lot of traffic there. The
Quite
airport,
sure. That's a
the
good suggestion.
museums, and that sign at the post office, are the attractions to Texarkana, where most people who are traveling, they come through there.
Yeah, a lot of traffic there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
And
good
with the ready
suggestion.
group, you know, they're constantly bringing developers and people to Texarkana.
All right. In the back, you had a question?
Tyler and I mentioned that to the airport yesterday, and they're supposed to present that to you guys about possibility of having merchandise in the new terminal.
Good deal. Because most airport terminals do have a lot of merchandise set up. Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
yeah,
Shot glasses.
yeah.
So do we need to give them a budget for this, or let them decide?
I don't think a budget is, I don't think we need a budget right now.
If we had a budget, we could make a recommendation of, hey, let's start with X shirts, X number of, whatever else, and then we could put out that pre-sale thing and kind of see how
Yeah.
that.
Can we figure out the
Yeah.
distribution of that before we even do that? Because without distribution, you have nothing.
Well, if we're gonna do the pre-sale, we won't know what the distribution is.
Yeah. I think that's something, maybe send out an email, so,
To-
everybody's in, and
Yeah.
say, how do you feel about this? Would this be something?
Isn't that what the pre-sale is getting them to see who's interested in the pre-sale, and then we get some merchandise in the hands, isn't that what we're talking about doing?
Well, just
Yeah.
to say,
Yeah.
this is something you would actually do.
Right, at these
I think we need
locations.
a little more homework on it, it feels like.
Something we could do, if y'all wanted to approve just, 50 T-shirts for now, we could start doing some giveaways and see if people are like, oh my goodness, I want to get one of those T-shirts, where can I go buy one? That would build some excitement, and then maybe some business owners would be like, oh, I want to carry these T-shirts in my shop because people want them.
Okay.
That sounds good. What do you all think about that?
I like that.
And then we could have pictures of a person wearing it and use that with the pre-sale.
I
Standing
vol-
on the state line.
I volunteer to be the model, if y'all need.
Love it. Wish we
Sounds
could have
good.
gotten
If y'all need a
Jones.
pretty face for that.
Sounds good. That'd be a thought, just methodically, just wave our way through this or what have you. That'd be a good start.
Okay. All right, looking at this pricing. If you do just want to start with T-shirts, we had her quote 2 styles of T-shirts that are popular, comfort colors. I think y'all are probably familiar with that. It's a thicker T-shirt. Those are expensive. And then these Gildan soft style T-shirts, I would probably go with that one because it's almost half the price. So less than $150, it may be $9 a shirt, or $8.50 or something, but we can get pricing back from Jill if y'all want to start with just 50.
I think that's a great number.
So I do have another question, because, you guys have the contract to do all the marketing stuff. So are we gonna have these conversations every time? Like, there's something that they wanna do to market? Like, I know I sent you guys the flagpole banners. Is that something that they need to come back to us and say, this is where we're getting them from, this is how much they cost, this is how many we're getting?
No, but I think we need to have a feel of what we're, not necessarily exactly where they're coming from, although maybe at first that might be good, but have a feel of what it is that we're pulling from. Like we said, shirts here, but not hats, right? So we want maybe somebody making that decision.
Now, also in that question, what we typically do, we do set a budget. And that way, if it's within the budget, they don't have to keep coming back to us. Say if there's a certain dollar amount that could be, approved just in communication, like in the past, with sales agency or what have you, there's been several items that have come up, like, hey, look at this post, read this, and see, without me calling a meeting and bringing everybody back to a meeting once a week. Yeah, and so at some point, we do need to create a budget. With that question, we will need to create a budget here in the
Well,
near
I think they've
future.
already got up to
Yeah.
$8,000 a month, right? Isn't that what was in the agreement?
For merchandise or for
For
everything?
marketing, for whatever they want to do. I mean,
I think that's
But
in
I
there
think-
for, specifically for that. That is like a fund they use, and then it comes back, and then we replenish that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. You know how that 8,000 works?
So monthly, that was really just, we estimated all of the like advertising expenses and our expenses and everything we would do for the year, and then we just divided it out. So that was
Yeah.
our retainer.
That wasn't merchandise,
So
was
that
it?
didn't include
No.
any merchandise.
Right.
I didn't think so.
I didn't think so.
No billboards, no extra paid advertisements. That's just like managing social media, managing the website, PR for y'all. I think we did put photography in that for us to get photos regularly and things like that, but yeah.
So this will need to be a line item that would need to be added.
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
for merchandise.
All right.
Could you present what you need as far as money to get this off the ground, and anything else you're thinking about that we have to, purchase, and and tell us what you need, how much money you need, and what you're buying. And I think that's what we need, is more guidance on, okay, what are your plans? You tell us how much you need and what you plan on doing. I don't know.
Well,
I think I need that.
I think initially, we just agreed on maybe just starting with 50 shirts, and, we know that initially, until we get the inquiry with all these other businesses or what have you, and then we can decide on the strategy that we're gonna do the pre-sale or what have you. But initially, we do wanna do the 50. And so we know what that's gonna generally cost, right? But
Basically, yeah. And if we can email you guys for approval on something, I can email you the total price for 50 shirts and you guys can say yes, if you want to do that.
Well, approval, I think the approval process would have to be, it'd have to be in public, yeah.
Yeah.
So the contract, the $8,000 retainer, paid monthly, it says, for strategy, editorial planning, administrative tasks, digital content creation, graphic design, layout, copywriting, social video, goes through all this stuff, advertising, traditional and digital ad placement, and campaign management. I think for something like this, we'd go ahead and need a vote on the 50 count. But I think we need to get clear what they need prior approval on, and then what they would have to come back to the meeting for approval. Because we have to, with FOIA, we have to be very careful what is done through email, which if there's a decision made by the board, it can't be made through email. So it'd have to be made here or at a special call meeting. But for something like this, I don't necessarily, it's good that we're doing it now, but 2 days from now, you come across something and you want to do something else, you shouldn't have to wait 3 months to get a decision on something. So I would go ahead and ask for a vote on the 50 count of T-shirts now, and move forward.
my preference would be to do more than just T-shirts. Because me personally, if I'm going somewhere, I don't want a T-shirt. I want a cup or a mug or, a keychain.
Yeah.
I don't want a T-shirt because I'm not going to wear a T-shirt, unless I'm working in the yard.
So right now, initially on this, what we're saying here, we want to get like a variety of items here, the 50 shirts perhaps, you just mentioned.
Well, I think
mug
the
and
T-shirt is a good starting point. This is a starting point to me. I'm not a T-shirt person, but I will wear the T-shirt for the experience of Texarkana. So I think it's a good starting point.
What about, is there any other discussion of anybody else think maybe we ought to get shirts along with mugs, some other merchandise initially, so
You could-
you're already here?
Commissioner, Chairman, you could set a budget and give them carte blanche to kind of do their thing, and we can revisit it. When's our next meeting?
What would be a good number for a budget to?
I think 1,500 would be a good number.
I was gonna say 1,500,
that sounds good.
2,000, we could get some
Yeah.
stuff, yeah.
And when you have a budget, we don't have to keep going back and forth or what have you.
I'm saying, I do have a question about that. Okay, we give that budget. They get the merchandise. It comes into you guys. Okay, it's in your hand. What do you do with it?
Well, for now, with the 50, we were talking about just doing giveaways to see if it gets popular and if people are interested. Y'all could all have a shirt, the city staff could get a shirt or whomever you guys want.
I want a tumbler, don't you?
Right.
We can put people in them for marketing photos that we
Right.
can take too.
Like some of these locations you have, you have some sample, you have something to put in their hand so they can see. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if we start selling, we feel like that's on you guys to decide how you want that to work. If you want, like we were talking about before, where's the inventory going to be housed? Who's going to disseminate it to people? Is it consignment or wholesale?
That was my question, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we
So-
put a $1,500 budget. We order it, it looks great, we're all excited about it, it's in your hands. Do we give that $1,500 worth of merchandise away? What's the qualifications? Are we just going through the street? I mean, there's so many unknowns there.
Well, I think even though there's a $1,500 budget, they may not even spend that. It might be less. It might be $200 or $300 that they might spend. But, that's just the budget, just to get those teasers out there.
I mean, like fast math, if we're looking at ordering 50 shirts and here 150 or $7 each, they're probably going to be 8 or 9 each. So we're, $400 or $500 for shirts. So if we have $1,000 or $1,500 budget, we can get some mugs, a couple tote bags, some, I don't know about a short run of magnets, but a few different things. And you tell us what you want us to do with those. We're open.
And I
But-
see that you have maybe just starting out with maybe proposing these 6 vendors. It might be more vendors later on that you may want to add to the list to give some samples to, right?
Yeah, those were just examples.
Yeah, just
of
examples.
Oh,
Yeah.
products,
Vendors
yeah.
that we might want to.
Yeah, the locations, yeah.
Oh, yes, on the second page, yes. The locations of where to sell stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if City Hall has the staff to handle if somebody walked in off the street and wanted to buy a shirt here, but I think that feels like could be a good place. The chamber could be a
Well,
place.
if we can put fillers out there on social media and everything, say, hey, if you want our brand new logo T-shirt, go to City Hall, you can purchase them there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if we
not
want
a
to just
giveaway.
start selling
That way we can
them,
put money back into your budget to buy more. Is that what we're doing? Is putting the money back into their budget, or is it?
I would say cover cost, once we start selling them.
Okay.
If somebody wants to come in and it costs us $5 an item, then we sell it for $5 an item.
Okay.
And then let them make the money. Have rules on markup, so they're not selling it for $50.
Yeah.
Make it reasonable, have different rules for resale, but,
Yeah, I think
as far as the giveaway, I would start with the community stakeholders. Take some to the chamber, take some to Main Street, let them give it to their staff and their, public works or the city employees.
so to kind of go back, our suggestion would be that we do get these 50 shirts and whatever else, $1,500, $1,000 worth of merchandise, and probably do give it away for free. Once it's out in the community, then we can start saying, hey guys, we're doing a pre-sale on these items. If any stores want
Right.
to carry them, this is how much they'll be, or contact us, and we'll let you know the pricing or whatever. And then if stores want to carry it and order it, or if they say, hey, I'm going to grab that logo and go on Amazon and buy my own shirts, then, they could do that. Hopefully our design will be a little cuter, and that's kind of a gamble on the business owner. Is somebody going to buy a shirt that says X business in Texarkana, or do they just want a Texarkana shirt, So that'll just be a thing we'll figure out. But I think if you guys are okay doing a giveaway at first, I think that would be a good way just to get the merchandise out there, get people's eyes on it, and see who's interested in selling it.
I agree.
It's also a good way to drive social
Yes.
media traffic,
Yeah.
giving stuff away.
So what you're telling us is you guys are going to disperse that to the city.
To the different locations, they're gonna.
Whoever y'all want us to. I mean, we're not trying to make money off of it, if
I
that's what
understand.
you're.
What
Yeah,
my
we just want to know where you're going to give them to.
And my concern is, we order this, we got $1,500 in merchandise, and it ends up getting put in the closet somewhere and never gets out. So there's got to be somebody saying, this is how
This
the
is where
distribution's
we're
going.
taking it.
Whether it's giveaway, sale, that's almost irrelevant. We're only talking about $1,500, but I don't want it to end up in a closet somewhere because there was actually nobody appointed to say, okay, I'm going to do that.
Well, I think what she's saying is that we're going to get in just some sample items, and then we can pick some businesses like our chamber, city hall, disperse that free stuff out. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
And
I don't
if
want to
you-
beat a dead horse here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's
just
doing
give us
that?
the name of the places you're going to be taking them to.
Okay,
Give
well,
us four, give us
we're
three.
open to
I think
wherever
you should
y'all
do-
think,
yeah,
but we
let's- why
can
don't
do the chamber.
and let's do the city hall.
City hall.
You could do public works, you could do the Parks and Recreation. Any other suggestions? Yeah,
I
And I
think
think-
Main Street.
The Texarkana, the airport needs.
and the airport, I think that'd be a
Okay.
good place to start right there.
Okay. And then we'll probably just allot like 5 to do social media giveaways. So we won't, do 50 giveaways. We'll just do a couple.
All right, that sounds,
All A and P members should have one.
Sure. Okay. There's
all right,
7.
well, that procedure sounds good. I think I need to go ahead and get that in the minutes and vote on that. And then after that, I would like to we'll go ahead and vote about the budget as well.
I'll make a motion, we approve their budget to get some swag.
I second that.
How much?
Yeah.
1,500.
Yeah.
1,500.
1,500.
All right, it's been motion and second about the $1,500 budget. Is there any more questions or discussion? Okay, if there's no other discussions, roll call, please.
Of course. Director Brewer,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Mills,
Yes.
Director Hollebush,
Yes.
Commissioner Vandergriff,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes, Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, we want to make sure we have clarification on the procedure or how we're going to do this. And would you please reiterate again how, what we just discussed to make sure everybody's clear?
He's wanting you to go through who you're distributing these to, the names that you just wrote down.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and order some samples, hopefully around 50 shirts and a sampling of other types of merchandise. We will get some to the chamber, some to Arkansas City Hall, some to Public Works, Parks Department, Main Street, the airport, and 7 for our A&P Commission. And then we'll do some giveaways on Facebook, and hopefully those items will become popular and people will want them, and stores will want to sell them, and we'll go from there, figuring out if we're going to probably do a pre-sale next so that we are not holding inventory that maybe isn't going anywhere. And then places can start selling merchandise, and I think probably the best route is going to be the wholesaling it to businesses. But
Okay.
we can flesh that out when we get to that point.
Is there a motion to accept that procedure?
I make a motion to accept that procedure.
Second.
Okay, it's been motion and second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Next item we have is A&P delinquent taxes. You have the taxes there inside your package. And as in the past, some entities that have paid their taxes, there might be a cross in the mail. Generally, we kind of follow up and to make sure that, that everyone's being accounted for. Does anyone has any further discussion on the delinquent taxes? I know we had a pre-conversation.
Are we hearing anything from the businesses that would typically be on time but are delinquent? Because there's one on here that they have pretty much been on time, but February through December of '23 and all of this year, they haven't paid anything. But in the past, they have kept up with it. I mean, are we hearing anything as to, are they just ghosting us?
I haven't heard from any, from that particular business. I don't know if they're still operational.
Wow.
Is that still,
They are.
they are?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe they moved, I don't know. But I have not heard from them.
Are we sending letters out to the ones that are delinquent? How often? Do we send it out per quarter?
Every time I get a list, which I don't think I've gotten this one yet.
Okay.
Can we
But-
put a public notice out? I mean, they don't want that publicly announced.
Well-
But they're, like, Golden Lady's 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
10 years.
And I amended my letter to include language of, hey, if you're we can set something up to get you going, particularly for that business. Hadn't heard from anybody. Last time I sent letters, there were a few that called and paid after they got their notice, but some had paid already. So there is, some delay in these, and I understand the restaurant business is tough, and times may be lean, but the actual collection power that we have it's not great. There's not a lot of teeth in it. We can't suspend business licenses, we can send them letters, and that's enough for 90% of the businesses, but for some, they just, won't pay it or can't pay it because, maybe they're on their, 1 foot out the door. But I would be cautionary with public notices
Okay.
because some, when I get them, I'll call them. If it's a Pizza Hut or McDonald's, I'll call them and say, hey, we don't have any payment yet, and they'll scramble and they got to call their accountants and things like this and make sure it gets paid. It does get paid. So I would caution against public notices.
Can do you think a person would they would understand that, please pay?
Oh, yeah.
Instead of a letter that may be getting put on a shelf.
Yes, except for one business.
What's that?
That would work probably except for one business. I don't think they're ever open.
Okay.
What does the state allow as far as collection? for
The state allows, state statute, the state allows us to cancel business permits. But the bylaws do not. There was a push handful of years ago that the council voted down to be able to allow the council to cancel the city business licenses and for non-payment of tax. And I guess and I wasn't there, but I guess the council didn't want to do that for reasons I can't speak of, but maybe they didn't want to be viewed as, anti-business. The taxes aren't just a real crowd pleaser to begin with, let alone, this one, and I guess the council felt they didn't want to go that far. And we do pretty well collecting on just notices. I mean,
Yeah.
we do pretty well, but,
Yeah, and I see a couple more that are like back 5 years and something like that, 4 years. So,
Attorney
I don't
Parker?
want to put anybody out of business.
I have a question. Once they sell, is there like a lien or something that we be able to collect? Say if they sold their business, we'll be able to collect, put a lien on the business or something?
There's it's recorded at the county courthouse. Now, whether that is collectible, I don't think so. I think that goes with the business, not the, it's not like a, it's not like sales tax where they can, you know, they can come and get your business, but the collection part of it really doesn't have the teeth that state statute allows,
Gotcha.
because previous iterations of the board didn't want that.
Attorney Potter, have we offered, like a payment plan instead of them trying to pay it all at once, you know?
Yes,
At least a payment plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Have we had any suitors in the past with that?
I haven't, I've only sent out the one notice,
Yeah.
and haven't had any takers.
Okay.
Do we know how other cities handle it as far as collections?
Suspend business licenses.
You know, as a business owner, I think it's not fair that some businesses are voluntarily paying for it and there's some businesses that don't. I'm not for shutting businesses down, but I'm not opposed to restricting a license, because if I have to pay it, I believe that they should have to pay it, but that's just a personal opinion.
Right.
What would that process look like?
Well,
Amending the bylaws, right?
But-
Yeah.
And there's some, maybe
Yeah.
like 2 or 3 on here that are taking advantage of them. Saying,
Because they know
"Oh,
nothing's
they-
really going to happen. So, I mean, I don't know how you feel, you know, but that's just my personal
Well, I
opinion.
think in that process, we would have to look at maybe amending the bylaws because, you know, just as Attorney Potter has stated, you know, the state policies are saying one thing, but our local bylaws are saying different.
But this would also go to the city board, correct?
um,
So they had turned
Be-
it down?
because of the, yes, because of the city license being suspended, it would. It'd take a majority, it'd take 4 votes on this council to amend the bylaws of the A&P. And y'all can do it any way you want. You know, suspension is probably the last ditch effort in getting somebody to pay, or at least start paying.
Right.
You know, you could create a probationary period
Step
where,
process, yes.
that's not just,
Out of the blue or something.
you know,
Yeah.
you're shut down. But I've got some proposed bylaws in the file that I can present to the board next meeting,
Yes.
and I can further explain what that would look like.
That sounds good. There's no rush to failure. We just take our time and just methodically, you know, come up with a procedure or what have you. You know, we don't have, it's nothing we just got to take action on right now. Yeah, it's just good to collect the data and see what will be the best informed decision to make. All right, the next item I have here is a motion for adjournment.
We've got other business.
Other business.
It don't say it on here, but where is it? Discuss application. Oh, yes, I missed that. Sorry about that. Other business, discuss upcoming 2025 funding event and application process. And discuss the application deadline. Our deadline, in the past, I think August, we start sending out, we start receiving applications, is that correct? Just correct me if I'm wrong. And I think that's what we've been doing.
Yes, sir, generally, yes, it happens around August when we start to get the packets and
Yeah.
applications and things of that
And
nature.
we've been giving them, 30, 60 days to get the package in?
I want to say it's normally 30 days, forgive me.
30 days.
I've not been very involved with the AMP, I'm so sorry, but if I'm not mistaken, it is 30 days.
Yeah, that's
Or,
right.
I mean, that's very much up to you.
No, I think that's been plenty enough time because within that time that you all be receiving those packages back, it give you time to vet those packages for any mistakes or any more data that need to be collected so that package is complete. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Because if you draw it out too long,
Chairman Brewer,
Okay.
before we get into dates and deadlines, I do have a presentation that pertains to the way we do our grant funding. If you don't mind, I'd like to present that as part of the discussion.
sure.
So you've got a letter in your packet there that I hope you've all had time to read, but before we get to that, so if you look at our website and the way the state has set up A&P, just under some of our frequently asked questions, one of the questions is, what is a hotel motel restaurant tax, or HMR tax? The city of Texarkana, Arkansas currently requires HMR tax to be paid by establishments engaged in the business of renting, leasing, or otherwise furnishing hotel or motel accommodations or selling prepared food or beverage for consumption on or off premises. How is it collected? 2% of all revenue generated by restaurants and 3% generated by hotels is paid to the city of Texarkana, Arkansas monthly. So the purpose of the tax collected is used for the promotion and encouragement of tourism and conventions in Texarkana, Arkansas. So will you go to the next slide there? So Gray probably wasn't the best choice of background on that thing. And this is all from our website. The primary purpose of this program is to promote the city of Texarkana, Arkansas, and attract visitors from outside the Texarkana area. Self-sufficiency, the A&P Commission, and this is pulled directly from the application. So anybody that's applying for funds,
Is this the correct screen up there?
yes. So under self-sufficiency, it says A&P Commission funding program is not designed to fund programs or events over a long period of time. The A&P Commission expects programs or events that are funded to be self-sufficient after 3 years. The A&P Commission may fund entities or events beyond 3 years on a case-by-case basis. Now, as we all know, a lot of our events, they have come to rely on A&P funding. So we have several that have gone, as much as a decade, and we make up the lion's share of their budget when they're doing their events in town. The economic impact. The purpose of the A&P Commission is to promote the city of Texarkana, Arkansas. It is important for the applicant to provide insight to the proposed event's economic impact to the city of Texarkana, Arkansas. So with that being said, a lot of what we hear and what we see when we're taking these grant proposals is there is not a lot of data showing that these events are bringing people from outside of Texarkana to spend time in our restaurants, in our hotels, and our motels, because the primary purpose of collecting this tax is to get the money from other people so that we can provide resources and amenities for our citizens and create a better experience for everybody. So if you'll go to the next slide. I don't know, will you play that video?
The video?
Yes. This is a video, this is from Cersei, and this is their chairman talking about what their A&P Commission has done.
Chris Howell, I'm the chairman of the A&P Commission for the city of Cersei. It's for advertising and promoting the city of Cersei. The tax is intended to bring people from outside the city into the city that wouldn't normally be here, and bring them into town to benefit local businesses such as restaurants, hotels. We do it through multiple avenues, one being specific events such as Meets and Eats, Get Down Downtown, the 4th of July celebration, the New Year's Eve celebration. Some of the other projects we've been involved with are the construction of the tennis and pickleball courts out at Berry Hill Park that will soon be started and hopefully completed this year. And multiple other projects on the slate. It helps grow our local economy by bringing people into town that normally wouldn't come through events, through facilities. It allows us to provide opportunities for not only our own citizens, but for citizens of other towns that would come to Cersei. Projects are brought before the A&P Commission by citizens or groups of citizens of the city of Cersei that want Searcy's a special place, and we want to advertise and promote Searcy so that others see what a special place is. And by supplementing funds needed for certain projects, whether it be events, whether it be facilities, that helps us help Searcy, helps us help local businesses.
Thank you, Tracy.
So, Holly Bush, do you have, if you will, continue, you have any more supporting statements that any different from what we already know?
Well, I'm going through the presentation.
All right.
So this is some of the things that the Searcy A&P Commission supports. They've got a year-round indoor pool with swimming lessons and teams, outdoor splash pad, and a kid's birthday parties. And this is a facility that they helped fund. Now, what we generate every year, and I'll just go through these numbers real quick. On average, we generate about $1.5 million a year. If we take away everything that we spend in parks with the ADC workers, the director, and all the maintenance for our parks, that's about $414,000. Finance and legal is about $65,000. So that leaves roughly $1 million a year that we could invest into our community to provide something substantial for our citizens. Because for $1 million a year, you might not get this facility, but you could issue a bond. You could partner with the school district. You create something here that generates revenue. Because colleges and high schools, they're going to come here for swim meets and competitions. You've created something that provides something for citizens where they can come and hold birthday parties, swim lessons. That's one of the things we hear at the city board meetings often is, we don't have a public pool. So we need a place to teach kids to swim. So this is one of the things that would be an option. If you'll get to the next one. So one thing we've got in Texarkana, we have a thriving golf community. We do tournaments here. How often do you have hotels booked out for golf tournaments?
Yeah.
That's one of the things that we have never funded, never supported, is the golf tournaments. And anybody that plays golf spends money. It's an expensive sport. So people come here for tournaments, and they're here for a week at a time, staying in our hotels, eating in our restaurants. And so that's something that we need to support. And I've got some other things on there that they've done, like the Searcy City Lake, which is one of their parks. They've got the pickleball courts there, and then their library. Go to the next one, please. All right, so here we've got, if you look at the bottom corner, that's the loading dock. And that picture is probably 4 years old or so. And then if you look in the top left corner, that's what it looks like now. So that's investment from the city and from the A&P Commission that has brought us something to Front Street that did not exist before. This is part of the entertainment district. I'm hearing all the time, new businesses, new restaurants, new bars going in downtown. Friday Night Live is something that Main Street has done for about a year now that continues to pick up momentum. Go to the next one. So I don't know if you've ever been to Rogers, but if you go down the interstate through town, I think it's 49, this is Walmart Amp. They host big names there. That's a big amphitheater, and you see Topgolf right behind it. Walmart Amp started in a parking lot. So they started off smaller than what we've got on Front Street right now. So with the right promotion and with the right investment, we could turn Front Street into something where we are bringing people from out of town, where we are pulling people from Hope and Shreveport and Longview and Ho Chi Town, getting people from all over to come here. And if they travel far enough to come to a concert, they're going to stay in a hotel room. They're going to get an Uber back to their room. So, I'll get to the next one. All right, this is the Hempstead County Library. In the top left, you've got a picture of our library, which that is the best picture I could find of our library online. The bottom one was built and for about $3 million. They built almost a 12,000 square foot library. And so right now, the city collects $1 mill that generates about $500,000 a year for a library. With some additional investment, we could build a library and start our own library system on the Arkansas side that would be a resource and an asset to the community. Put it in places on our side of town where people are and where they're going to be, so that they can, we've got the new middle school out there. That would be a good place for a library. We've got downtown where, lots of walking communities that would benefit from a resource like this. All right, go to the next one. So with the new terminal opening, we've got the old terminal, and one of the plans right now is Texarkana College in the future is looking at doing a flight school. And they would use about half of this old terminal for a flight school, and the other half would be a children's museum. It would be an aviation-themed children's museum. You can't see the pictures real good, but go to the next one. So you've got different areas in there for kids to play. You've got an indoor playground, there's a concession area, but we don't have a children's museum in Texarkana anymore. For whatever reason, the museum that we had went away after COVID and hasn't come back, and I don't know that our museum system has any source of funding to bring something like that back. So with some investment and some partnership with Texarkana College and our airport, we could have a children's museum. Go to the next one. So this would be the layout of that children's museum. And you see that cloud-looking thing at the top? That's an outdoor playground. So that's an asset for our community where kids can go, even if they've been to the museum 100 times, they can go play on the playground, get something from the concession stand, and watch planes take off. Which this gets kids interested at a young age in aviation, which feeds into the flight school, which feeds into everything we're doing at the airport, trying to develop more jobs and keep people around. So tourism and economic development go hand in hand. I've looked at a skate park. We've got one on the Texas side, but for less than $500,000, you can get a professionally designed park built. So within just a few years, with the right investment, we could do something really big and significant in the community. So now, I'm not proposing that we just say right now, hey, we're going to give $1 million to the museum this year and $1 million to this next year. We've got some things that are coming up that people are dependent on our money because it's always been there. So what I'm proposing is that we amend our bylaws and change the way we do our funding so that we have more control over how we spend the money. Instead of waiting for somebody to bring us a good idea and then trusting them to know how to market, to know how to run an event. We've got several events that we have funded to the tune of $30,000+. And I've gone to these events and I see 150 people there. And it's a great event and it reaches a certain demographic of people who like to do that kind of stuff. But is that the biggest bang for our buck we can get?
Yeah.
So what I would propose instead is amend our bylaws, stop doing the grant funding operation as we're currently doing it, and sit down and have a workshop and discuss how we move forward. If we decide that we want to put it into, 4 big pots and have some oversight and direction, we can, designate certain areas of town to spend money. There's 100 different ways we can do it. But I would like to at least start the conversation so that we can sit down and just make sure we're using these tax dollars wisely to benefit the people in Texarkana. Has everybody had a chance to read the letter from David?
Yes.
So they've got a hot tax, which is a little bit different from what we do. They used to do something similar to what we're doing, where they would have people come to city council and they would buy, it was a competition, whoever had the best idea got the money. And so for the last 10 years or so, instead of doing that, they have put their money into historic and to downtown, and they have sat down and decided, this is where we want to invest our money. This is where we want our future. And you see,
Yeah.
there's benefits to that. And so I think I'm not proposing that we work out all the details and have a solid plan right now, but I'm proposing that we go ahead and decide that we're not gonna fund the grants the way we always have. That way we can go ahead and let the public know. And then we can sit down and have a workshop and decide how we're gonna spend that money going forward.
I am not in
I
favor.
don't-
I'm not in favor of that because we're too close. We're near the end of, funding is coming up. If we want to do this, I'm not against doing this, but also with the University of Arkansas being in Texarkana, and we're Arkansas. I heard you say Texarkana College, I'm all for that. But what about the University of Arkansas, Texarkana also into this scenario? But I am not ready to change right now.
Me either.
I think it's a good plan, but not all at once right now.
Yeah, you do have some good points, and I agree with some of the things that you're saying, but I know that I've sat on this board for quite some time, and when these people come to ask for money, we ask them questions. How many people did you bring from outside of Texarkana? And they give us data. And, when people don't give us data that it's bringing people into Texarkana from outside, then I don't think that we should approve things like that. So, yeah, that's something that we'd have to think long and hard about. The library is, that's kind of a dying thing, so I don't want us to get into a ball of worms where we have to, yak about everything. I'm not in favor right now at this time. I think it's something we can talk about, but I'm not in favor at this time.
Anyone else have a comment?
I think it's interesting. I think it's something that
I would like to have a
Yeah.
workshop, maybe not this year,
To
but
talk
at
about
least
it.
after January.
yeah.
All right.
I think it's late in the game
Yeah.
this year to change bylaws, and I'll just be honest, because I like a lot of your ideas, and I like knowing that they are staying in the Arkansas hotels, they are eating in the Arkansas restaurants. I like that to change things, but I think in January that we should do it for next year.
All right.
The biggest thing I want to do is get the conversation started.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't have
That's
to
fine.
do it right now, and as far as like Texarkana College, the reason I mentioned them specifically is because they already have a presence at our airport, and they already have intentions of moving into that building.
Okay.
So I would love to partner more with the University of Arkansas.
And I would like for you to, as we work through this process, to look at the University of Arkansas, that they are on the Arkansas side.
Absolutely.
Being that we're collecting the tax from Arkansas. I've heard the presentation and a lot of the initiatives that we already have moving forward. That's our goal overall, that we have some of these different areas, that we want to support. But I just want to make sure that I'm clear, that I'm hearing the proposal to council Parks and Recreation.
No, not at all.
Okay, yeah, I
No,
thought I
so
heard
what I was
that.
saying, parks, what we contribute to them currently is $414,984 in our budget for this year. So outside of what we contribute to them, that is $1 million. And outside of that, outside of our financial obligations, so that we can use that and dictate what projects we're gonna do.
All right, I'm clear.
That's the money we divvy up between everybody else in a year.
All right. And I think I've heard it over here, and I think at this point, we don't need to rush to failure because with these initiatives and going in and changing the bylaws as is already written or what have you, because we do have supporting language about, collecting these Arkansas monies and funding the different entities on the Arkansas side. So I think we really need to be careful with that. And, it do have some good points in the presentation, but I don't think we need to take any kind of action right now. But maybe it's something as we can continue to grow, but we really have to streamline our processes to make sure that we're doing this the most legal and affordable way, for our citizens, that we're collecting their taxes here on the Arkansas side. Yeah.
And that's my plan.
Yeah.
Well, I would
Yeah.
like a workshop.
Yeah.
I would like
Yes.
to just hear things out and talk, but not this year.
Right.
I would like to, if we're gonna do workshops and start talking this direction, I would like to do it after the funding period that we're doing this year, but before January maybe. I don't know, December's a busy time, November's busy, but
December's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it'll be maybe
or
the
early
first
enough in
quarter
the
of
year so
next
that
year or
people
something,
have notice.
be a lot better.
What's that?
I think maybe the first quarter of next year may be a lot better.
Maybe
But
in January.
But you all keep in
Second
mind what we're proposing to do here as far as changing the bylaws or how we're going to fund this or what have you. So we must be very methodical about what we're doing here. The presentations look good, the colors look good or what have you, but, you know, please, we must be a good steward of these monies that we're collecting on the Arkansas side. You know, that's where our loyalty is, and that's where we're collecting these monies. So there, in the future, you know, we continue to plan, but let's just be mindful that we don't have to rush to failure. Thanks for your presentation.
I've got a question. The question I have is these, because you mentioned this in the first part of the presentation, these entities that we've been funding for years, it's not drawing people in. And I know we individually vote on that. I was a part of that this past year. Is it a point that we can like fund them, but in whatever language that we do, let them know, you know, this could be going, they're putting their faith in the
Putting on
A&P.
the whole event because of our.
Yeah, and they don't need to have that expectation, I guess, bring down the expectation that they can't. This is a benefit to them to be able to come to us and ask that, but if their whole event is based on them believing that they're coming, and they're already planning these events as we speak, and they've not even been funded yet. They're planning them and going through, and they've had that expectation. We've been doing this for years. Those events should eventually, depending on the event, every situation is different, should start taking up on a life of its own and being able to afford to.
That's.
What if
the
they-
intention.
The language is what I'm asking. How do we make the language where it's a positive language without making the community feel like, okay, we're slowing down on this particular thing?
Well, it sounds like putting a timeline. You sound like you're putting a
What if we're-
timeline on there.
when they
Well,
came-
that's kind of what our bylaws kind of have already done, correct? And I'm not for sure, but I'm going by the presentation
Right.
of what, but for the,
That's,
a period of
that
time.
That first line, what if when they came in for funding, will you put that, go back to that, that slide, right?
This is from the actual
Okay,
application. It might be
where it
easier
said
to
the
read.
3 years. What if we had that slide up? That slides, so they know that they are not supposed to be funded, it's for.
That's in the application that they fill out every single
But,
year.
that's true, but what if we have that slide up when they come in to present their application, so it's there?
It's a case-by-case basis.
Yes,
So, and I agree that, well, I feel like an event that they've asked for money for 3 years or more, that it should be self-sufficient by the end. They built up, you know.
Is that the wording in the bylaws?
We would have to
It's in
really,
the application.
That is
No, I was
yeah,
the
because,
bylaws.
yeah, bylaws are totally different from the application.
Sure.
The bylaws only have the statute.
Right, the
It doesn't
statutes.
go into that particular
Okay.
Right,
language.
right.
okay.
Then that makes
That's
a
why I
difference.
said we can't put a timeline on it because the statutes don't say
I
that.
understand.
Yeah,
All right.
but it's at our discretion to collect enough data to make the appropriate decision, you know, especially with our expertise of owning businesses and, you know, other.
I think, I mean, because we get to hear and we get to see what they present for
Right.
5 or 10 minutes. We don't know their background, we don't know their experience, we don't know what they have done at other events in the past.
Well, I think we do. I mean, I don't know, how long have you been on the board?
The majority of them,
We do know. I mean, I've sat on this board for 4 years, and, you know, I get ample enough information to be able to approve or disapprove their application. You know, it's the Main Street downtown, Texarkana, it's people in our community that come every year, so if we want to change that or take that away, there needs to be a lot of thought put into that, because, yeah, it's just a changing how we do business, which I'm all for talking about.
I will tell you this, I think I've been on this board at least 4 years as well. Now, at the beginning, I asked a question about data analysis, you know, and to really know in that, and I was told that, no, we don't have that system in place, but, you know, certain businesses and certain restaurants, we're able to tap into, and hotels say, okay, on this particular date, we received this amount of doors, what have you. So, to answer that,
As far as hotels,
yeah.
we could literally do
Right.
a pickup report.
Right.
And give you all the information.
Yeah.
On any event.
And that's such a great area because people that's coming in, they're not only just occupying beds, they're spending monies at other local areas that we're collecting A&P tax from different businesses as well, that we may not be able to get a head count from.
Yeah.
And so,
But we love tourists coming in and spending their dollars in Texarkana. So,
And to make a blanket statement saying that we don't know these people and they're not bringing people into our community from outside of the town, I don't know that that's 100% accurate, because I just know how we question them every year. How many people do you know? And they'll pull up, yes, okay, we had 37 people stay in our hotels, we had la, 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 you know, this many people came from outside of town, but, you know, that's just,
I'm not saying that we can't trust people that are asking for money. I'm saying there's, you know, maybe a better way to do it, maybe a better way to fund. Because I will tell you, I have gone to some of these events, and if we're the only sponsor, there's something wrong with that. Because we fund the entire event, and there's nobody else. If I want to build an event and I want to do something to fundraise or bring anything to the community outside of Texarkana, I'm going to have to build that from the ground up.
Well,
And
we
we have
normally ask-
taken away that sweat equity that people put into their organizations because we're giving them a blank check and saying, here, you'll have a successful first year and it's going to be gravy from there. And then they get it for 10 years.
well, we normally ask, I don't know that we've funded anybody where we're the only source. I'm not aware of funding anybody, because I know that when we ask them, if we were not to fund this money, would you still be able to go ahead and have your event? And I don't know, can't remember of anyone that says, no, we wouldn't have the event. They're like, well, yes, we would still have it, because they have other people helping funding. But maybe there are people that we're the only ones funding, I'm just not aware of that. It could be true.
yeah, I see Holly Bush's point on that point right there about, you know, event accountability, you know, are they doing what they say they're going to do or what have you? You know, of course, you know, we really have to have boots on the ground. And again, the citizens are looking for us to make their most appropriate decision when we're saying, yes, we're going to allocate this, allocate that. And, you know, for whatever data that we've collected, if it was individually being at the programs to see or what have you. But I think, you know, as far as putting a microscopic type of arm on who's getting the money and how they're performing, I don't think we have to just go out there and just really just kind of just, you know, just really tell them, hey, we're going to be monitoring your program, what have you. But being that we're all in the community, we'll see that. And so we can still make our decisions accordingly. And so there was one other point that was, so are we clear? Did you have another point on that?
I think talking about it next January is a great
Okay.
idea.
yeah.
Brainstorm and-
Anything here for the right side?
For next year.
Okay, and keep in mind that we do want our city to be vibrant, and whatever good ideas that we can have, bring it forward. We just have to be methodical about, you know, how we use our stakeholders, our monies, or what have you. You know, every city wants to thrive, and we got a good opportunity to continue to thrive. You know, we just need to, you know, do our homework and make the best decisions
Yeah.
accordingly.
I think nothing can,
Right.
everything can't be done at once. It's
Right,
not-
right.
We need to see what would work for us best, you know.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Holly Bush, for bringing that to our attention and giving us something to think about.
All right, if there's nothing else, is there a motion for adjournment?
I make a
What do you
motion.
do? Have we gone through the full timeline for funding request?
30 days after the application process.
I think we discussed in August, and we give them 30-day,
Yes, sir. We were discussing
timeframe?
that. Yes, sir,
Yeah.
30 days.
Yeah.
I know that some people have already started turning their applications in, and so normally we'll start sending out letters and applications to those, if I'm not mistaken, who have applied before.
yeah.
They
Around
have
the,
to turn it in by August 31st to City Hall, and then it goes to the attorney's office. Then it comes to court.
That's right.
Okay.
August 31st is the deadline.
So do we need
Yes.
to schedule a meeting for September? Because don't we normally have one where they present and then in October we hear?
There's a workshop that we hold in September.
Right.
yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
And they'll get notification of that, and then I think that's our quarterly meeting as well.
Right, all right. So it look like we can keep the same process, same timeline.
Are we going to schedule that, is what I'm asking?
It's in our quarterly meeting.
Quarterly meeting's not till October.
That's,
There's normally,
Yeah, let's,
yeah, and then we have our quarterly meeting.
we're just discussing on further on down the road, August 31, the package deadline, and then after that, the September, when we hear where it goes to.
Attorney Potter just
Attorney
told me he only needs about a week, maybe more, to review all of the applications.
Okay.
And so if our deadline is August the 31st, then maybe a week or two, and anytime mid-September or late September, depending on what you would prefer.
Okay, let's say mid-September,
Let's look back on last year's calendar.
yeah.
What we did.
I think it was around like the second or third Wednesday or something like
It's
that.
kind of early.
I will verify that and
Yeah.
make sure.
I think it was a week before the approval meeting. I think you
I
guys
think it
meet
Was
a
it-
week prior to the October 20th meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think, yeah, you're correct.
because that gives us time to review.
Right.
uh,
So if you can look at the calendar and let's try to keep that same time.
I will make sure when it was last year. Actually, I can probably find that now.
Now, I know we had one thing where people came and Tyronda showed a film on how to fill out the application. Are we still doing
We
that?
weren't,
She
we
did-
didn't have to be here for that.
She did that in a workshop
Oh, I just came.
with the staff.
I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, the staff offered that as a courtesy
That was done
workshop.
before the deadline for the application.
Yeah, okay.
So so those packages wouldn't get declined or what have you, and they have to resubmit because it was incomplete or what have you. So I remember they did a courtesy workshop.
That's right.
Sorry, it's not wanting to come up.
You want to just send out an email with the date would be,
I will if that's okay, because I
That's
can't
okay.
seem to find it on our website. And if that's all right with you, I will verify the date of the workshop and send an email to you all. Is that appropriate? Is that okay?
that's
I
course.
think that's well, because we're not changing the process. It's-
Except we're going to start it at 2:30.
So September last year, we had one on the 11th.
Yeah.
Oh, good. On September 11th or October 11th?
September 11th is when we had a meeting, and then October,
That was in the
I'll see what I put on my calendar.
September 11th falls on a Wednesday this year.
What's that?
September
Yeah.
11th was when we did it last year, and it falls on a Wednesday this year, if you were
Oh.
interested in doing that.
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
And you said you wanted to start it at 2:30 this year?
I think she's referring to the actual date that we see all the people.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
That's the one in October, right?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
The 4-day meeting?
Thank you. Yeah.
Anything else?
Let me make sure I'm not skipping anything else here. I've tried to close it out on a couple of occasions. All right, I think we're clear.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All right, it's been motion and second. Roll call, please.
Director Brewer,
Yes.
Chairman Mills,
Yes.
Director Hollibush,
Yes.
Commissioner Vandergriff,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright.
Yes.
All right.
Meeting adjourned.